Stippich. Well, I hope we're working now. I'm Cheryl Stippich, and I'm with the Voorhees Family Art Show. I'm a guest artist. I work in stained glass, and I also work in polymer clay. So today I'm going to give you a tour of my polymer clay station here. I'm going to turn you around so you can see it. Okay, my space is small. Let me back out here. It's more like a desk, but that works okay because that keeps me organized. Polymer clay is a modeling clay, and it comes in different brands, and I like working with the Primo brand. You can get these 2-ounce blocks, or you can get 1-pound bars. And so when it comes out of the package, it's sort of hard, and so you have to condition it. It comes in all different colors, but with these 3 colors, with black and white, you can create any color that you want. To condition the clay, it's a professional rolling mill that you put the clay through several times, and you have different settings, so you can go from large to small. When I first started, I used a pasta machine, and that's what a lot of the artists use, because that works just fine. I had an opportunity to get this from a friend when she was no longer working, so I decided to. One thing nice about this is it has nice long rollers on it for doing big sheets. So once you have the clay conditioned, you can create all different kinds of canes. And a cane is different components of clay that are laid together lengthwise, and then it gets compressed and reduced to smaller size by squeezing it. And then once you cut it, you take slices off of it, and it's the same all the way through the cane. No matter where you cut, you're going to have the same design. Somebody described it as like a sushi roll, because you have your fish going throughout the whole thing. There's different kinds of canes. There's border canes. I like working with it because it's nice and colorful. This is a cane that a friend made, so you can even have your name in a cane for signing your work. These are some pieces that were made. This is a hollow form. It was done over a glass bauble. And so once it's cured, it's nice and hard. Polymer clay is, in the raw state, can react with different surfaces. So the best thing to work on is either a glass surface or a tile, and that works well. These are some of the utensils that I get, that I cover. This is the original. These are steak knives that are from England. I don't know if you can see that. And so I take the handle off because it's plastic and it won't work in the oven, and so then I fashion a new handle for it. Sometimes the pieces that I get are in kind of rough shape, but just a good polishing, and that takes it back to life. Here is a ladle. It's a gold-plated, and so I have fun looking and finding these items at thrift stores and estate sales. This is a piece that I did. It was a clutch that I got at a thrift shop, and it was covered with sequins. So I removed the sequins, and I made a polymer clay veneer and covered it, and so it's nice and handy to have all my tools in. And then of course I cover the handles of my tools too. So this one is one of my favorite ones, and it's a dental tool that I like working with. And it keeps everything in there nice and handy. The polymer clay is been around for a while, but it hasn't become an art form until the last 30 years or so. So it's sort of new in its how should I say that? It's sort of a new medium. And so artists, as creative as they are, they're able to use all kinds of equipment from other art forms, and they've made it into such workable things. Like here is a burnisher, and I put a little handle on it. And what this is it's a drawer pull. And so this is nice and flat, and so when I have to burnish things down, I've got that. And so it's a door handle. How cool is that? I have all my clay in here. I've got my books that I've got up above. And these are all my boxes of canes. So I keep my canes in these plastic boxes, and they're wrapped with some saran wrap to keep them from sticking to each other. There are certain types of plastics that the clay will not react with. And when it does react, what it does is it'll eat a hole in it. These are some fun things too. Again, being the creative people artists are, this is, let's see if we can see that. This is an acupuncture needle. One of the nemesis of polymer clay is air bubbles. And so having a fine needle like that to poke them and get rid of them before you bake is very helpful. If you have air bubbles in your piece, when it goes in the oven, that air is going to expand, and then all of a sudden you have a goiter. This is a piece that I had fun making, and it's for my Xacto knife. So you can sculpt with it, you make jewelry with it, you can cover handles with it. I belong to the Blue Ridge Polymer Clay Guild, which is based out of Asheville, and so sometimes we have challenges where we make each other name tags so that we can wear them when we're at our meetings. Over here is a very handy tool. It's called a slicer. It's for slicing even pieces of cane. And while it's a really handy tool, it's also very dangerous because that's a very sharp blade on there. So it's like a guillotine that comes down and does slices. Here I have my drawers where I save my pieces that I've already sliced in my veneers, and I've got it on a piece of glass and then covered with some saran wrap again. So it's nice to keep them organized and keep the colors together that I use to accent the pieces. I've got another, I love these drawer trays. So here's all my pieces of saran wrap that I use over and over again. Here's my drawer with lots of different colors in the 2-ounce bars. And we've got my texture stamps. And these are wonderful too. And there's all kinds of things that you can use to texture the polymer clay. My friend Sandra is the one who taught me about this one here. This is a piece of pine, and there's a pine bark beetle that actually gets underneath the surface and channels around. And so then when you roll this out as a texture, it gives it a really nice organic look. So that's fun. I also have more stuff here. So I've gotten a lot crammed into a small space, but I've got heat set oils, which are great for working with polymer clay. Here I've got a lot of the utensils that are a blank slate ready to be covered. I've got more utensils here ready. And I love these little plastic buckets with the handles on them. It's nice to have them come and go. I use embossing powders, alcohol inks, all kinds of things to work with the clay. It's very, very versatile. Right here's my drawer right next to my desk. And I've got rollers. And these are the tissue blades that we use for cutting canes and for cutting. I also have, this is a book that I use for conditioned clay. to save it. What these are is the old photo album inserts, and so the clay does not react with it, so I can put those in, and then these are page protectors that have been cut open. So it's a good way to save your colors, save your clay, and have them in colors. It will have to be reconditioned when I take it back out, but that's okay. Next, I have a bunch of different cutters for cutting out the clay. This here was my grandmother's canopy cutters. And then you have the graduated cutters. These here, I believe, were made for leather. And then there's different templates that you can get for cutting out, or you can just freehand the cutouts for jewelry and so forth. Or you can make your own out of plastic or cardboard. A friend of mine was very generous and gave me this book that she made, and so it's a color recipe book, so basically a cookbook for polymer clay. So these are all the different colors that she's done with the recipe on how much of what color clay to end up with these different shades. And so then you make up the recipe and you cut out a piece and cure it and then glue it to the page so that you can make that color over and over again. Well, that's basically it. I'm going to walk you over to where I do my curing, which is over on the other side in my stained glass studio, because that's where I had room for it. The clay gets cured in a toaster oven. Nothing too fancy. It is a convection oven, which is nice because it keeps the air circulating so you don't get hot spots and clay doesn't get burned. I also have a ceramic tile in the bottom as a heat sink to help keep the temperature even. For my polymer clay utensils, I want something that it can sit on that's soft, and so this is just a poly fiber that it sits on so it doesn't get flat in the back. If there's something that I want to be flat, completely flat, I can cure it on a piece of glass. When it gets cured on the glass, it's going to have a shiny back. It can be sanded away, or I can do it on a ceramic tile, or if I want a matte back, I can put it on this is just a cardstock that you can work on. And then I always use just a sheet of paper, this is deli paper, to go over the top when I put it in the oven so that it doesn't burn. Okay, so I'm going to walk you back over here, and if you're interested, on the Voorhees Family Art YouTube channel, there is a video of me demonstrating how I cover the handles of my utensils. Okay, today we have other demonstrations and tours. So at noon, Susie and Jane will be talking more about We Give a Share. At 2 o'clock, Jane is going to do another painting demo. At 3 o'clock, David's going to give a kiln tour. 4 o'clock, Molly and David will be doing their Silveramics demonstration. And at 5 o'clock is a raffle drawing. So you'll want to make sure that you stay tuned for that, especially if you bought raffle tickets. This is some of the polymer clay utensils that's available on my Etsy site. If you go to VoorheesFamilyArt.com, you can click on my page, and I also have stained glass for sale. And it's also where you can buy more raffle tickets. So thanks for coming, and we'll see you soon. Bye.